I prefer the DAO token to be a buy and hold, the same way you would a bond, or the same way you would an ETF, right? You buy it to get that exposure. You're not. If people want to trade the Pump Fund token, which is the original Citadail token, by all means, there's plenty of liquidity on all the dexes. But we're not going right now. We're not going to seed the HF token on a DEX, because the trading of it, it's meant for the holders to benefit from.
So wait, where's the coin?
I just wanted to start with that. Check out this Rasmer. Why AI hedge funds are the future of investing. Alright guys, I would definitely check this last little live stream. This is Degen the GOAT. This is Rasmer. They had a really good conversation about the hedge fund Citadail, the AI run hedge fund. So anyways guys, thanks for tuning back in. It's Andy's Crypto Talk here. Let me just share out real quick. I do want to share out the link. Let me get the piano rolling. And let me get some... where do I got that link? Let me just pull up my link here. We're just going to share this out because I'm just going to do a quick chat tonight because I just wanted to look over a few things on the overall crypto market. And we're going to yap about Citadail, of course, because I got some clout to farm. Look at this guy right here. This is what's crazy. So Tony P saying he heard someone turn 1 SOL into 500 SOL with Flipper, and that's on Griffain. Griffain.com, and you just hit get started, and you can go with your email, SMS, Phantom, and there's other options as well. I'm actually connected to this thing. I don't have it connected to this setup though. It's connected on a different setup, so I can't really show you guys that, but I want to dig into that deeper. We'll definitely dig into that deeper with you guys. A couple things I want to show you guys. This was crazy. It showed a market cap of 662 mil on Citadail and 399 mil. These were glitches, obviously, but we had earlier a 490 SOL buy. This was at around 7 p.m. 3 or so hours ago, and then we had a 527 SOL buy. So 200k buys, like within probably half hour of each other. This thing is popping off. At this point, it peaked up to 46.4 million market cap. I was shilling this around when it hit 400k. Let's see if we can go back there. Oh, that's October. Holy, we've gone back. Where are we at? December. So here's what I said. First call out of Citadail was next up 9 p.m. on December 13th. It hit a 2x. And I said Citadail to 1 billion, December 13th. I then said buy the dip, 10 p.m. This was a different token. But yeah, I said buy the dip on Citadail, and look at that. Like, so buy the dip was like around here. It was in the 1 mil zone. I handed this out for free in the 1 mil zone. And it even touched as low right here. It touched as low as 400k. So you can do the math. That's 100x. That's 100x from the 400k range, okay? So we done it. 100x from our bottom calls. I needed to harvest a bit of clout tonight because I was feeling like some of these guys are outpacing me, and I just wanted to really farm a bit of clout. But anyways, yeah, let's talk quickly about the greater market. So we saw this pump up in the VIX today. You know, it's not amazing to see this, but I think it's a good chance it gets rejected here, and we can see this head and shoulders sort of play out to the downside, and then we're going to see more pumping. But as you can see, everything took a big hit. Even Nvidia, you know, after it came out with its new stuff, and then boom, it just took a big 6% cut on one of the biggest companies in the world, right? MicroStrategy 10% down, Coinbase 8% down, GME actually up a little bit. Look at this, it's following our play, like GME, right? It's actually, I think it's holding up better than GME on Solana, just because of GME on Solana being it's being dragged down by the rest of the crypto markets. So we'll get around to that. You know, I could bring up the GME chart just to show you guys, because I haven't looked at this in a while, even though Roaring Kitty did tweet. I haven't looked at this in a while just because it's kind of gone down, and it's at a low right now. It's just chilling, but this is usually when it gets quiet, and then eventually it starts to pop off. So that's why GME is one to kind of pay attention to. But yeah, as you can see, like Roaring Kitty tweet right here, it pumped up to about 36, and then dipped way lower than it was before. And then another Roaring Kitty tweet popped right up to 33, and we're almost back to that range now again. So maybe a good place to play it, just based off where its RSI and stuff is. It attempted to break out of that, but it just wasn't able to. So I think this is kind of, it's breaking out of its trend. Let's see if it holds that. It could do a little inverted head and shoulders here. Yeah, it could do a little inverted head and shoulders here. It's tight though, so watching GME might be worth positioning for that one. Let's get that back out of there. I just want to do a quick one because yeah, this looks good. Like, so I think it follows this. If this continues just grinding up and then eventually pops off, kind of like a squeeze, then we'll definitely see GME on Solana perform. The dollar, yeah, so that thing kind of rocketed up as well. It's kind of above where we want to see it. We'd like to see the dollar really start to weaken, but yeah, we can see, you know, SPX, these things are consolidating. Took a big dive today though. NAS took a big dive. US 30, it's been chilling down here, so it didn't take as big of a dive, I don't think. So yeah, just kind of quick overview. USDT.D, like we were hoping for this to continue on down and break down through this, but we did get a kind of a bounce here. So yeah, looking for a rejection around up here, although here would be nicer, kind of to give it that head and shoulders-y feel. 4.28, that's a big volume area as well. So there's a really good chance that we see a rejection and a continuation to the downside here. So keeping an eye on BTC because this thing is dipping big time. Let's see, where were we looking at? So yeah, I mean it didn't continue on the path that we anticipated, but we were talking about, you know, the 20th being inauguration day and whatnot. So just kind of keeping an eye on that. But yes, we do have these two markers between 93, sort of 450 and 100. And we can see we kind of deviated and rejected. So I think we come down and hopefully bounce. Ideally, worst case scenario would be like 92K to create this nice inverted head and shoulders. It would create this nice pattern if it came down to here. And then continue sending up. I mean, it's kind of where we had marked, right? So maybe we can just potentially like move this over. Maybe that was the down, right? So maybe that was the down wave, even though it kind of struggled through here on continuously fulfilling this downside move. But regardless, like I think it's looking good. This is, you know, we get these violent dips when it comes to bull markets because there's a lot of leverage coming and going in the system. Like I think we've seen the liquidations in the past 24 hours are like reaching near the 1 billion mark. So that's just something to consider, that people are getting shaken around like it's a salt shaker, you know, or you could even consider potentially a pepper grinder, that it's getting grinded down. Seeing here a little bit of a dip again on Citadail. It's coming down to retest this pretty much low, make maybe a second double bottom type thing, and then move on. Although we will get to the TA on this in a second here. Let's just finish up real quick on these big ones. So ETH BTC. Oh yeah, I didn't post this in the Citadail chat, so let me actually post it in the Citadail chat just to let them know I'm about to do. And yeah, I mean, we're gonna do some TA and we're gonna look at like the worst case, best case type thing. ETH BTC not looking good. ETH looking really bad actually. That's dumping hard. But a lot of these alts are gonna be looking really bad just because when BTC dumps, the alts are gonna dump as well. So yeah, I mean, Sol ETH is holding up, but Sol BTC and Sol Dominance really dumping down. Sol is really taking a hit right now. So that was anticipation back there. Yeah, those are the three tops, right? So the next kind of, yeah, that would have been the next kind of thing the trend to look at. You know, it faked out and it dipped back down. So kind of looking at a retest, probably of these lows, probably around just like 190, I would say. It could potentially go lower though, so don't mark my words. But I think 190 is a good place to bounce. See, there's a lot of confluence with that zone, and that's kind of just before we took off. That's kind of the zone that we were looking at. So we would like to see it overcome sort of the 210 range, halfway point, 223 range. Once it overcomes that, that's when we see bullishness kind of continue back on Solana. And then of course, you know, we're looking at a total 3 for a bounce at about 3.24 trillion. So yeah, I mean, like we've moved down, but I think there's lots of potential for movement back to the upside. And again, see here, we can see kind of an inverted head and shoulder. This is on the altcoins. So this is total 3. That's like, it's a nice place for it to bounce here. regardless, let's actually let's just hop on to Citadail, because I did just message in their chat. So we want to do some TA on this guy just because we were saying last night. Let's do the 1 hour. Actually, it'll be looking a little better. So we were saying last night that we drew this extension out, you know, and it hit kind of our box target here. Was that the box target? Yeah, that was the box target. So we were talking about the extension for this this previous zone here was up into here. So we did see that fulfilled and then dip back down, then we pump back out of that. So we're doing kind of the fibs from that last zone, and it was up it was to that zone. So from the low to the high back to this low, and then we saw that this was kind of our 23 to 32 was kind of our first target, and that it could potentially swing up all the way to 48. Basically I said 50 mil, and we saw that play out quite nicely. So we flushed into these, you know, 23 to 27 mil area, and if I drill down, you know, see that's where we took our first correction. So this kind of showed me the first at the first sign that this was like anticipated correctly, so to speak. And then we can see that it pushed up violently after that because a lot of volume came into the market at this point, and you know, it just had a little slight bull flag sort of pullback, broke out of that and just rocketed up. You know, we saw this inverted head and shoulders sort of playing out right here, and then it just shot past that with a couple 100K buys that we were showing you. You know, that was around that 6:30, 7 o'clock mark. Ever since those big buys, we have been seeing some selling. So now I think we're just getting a new lower low, just barely. So just barely a new lower low, down around 27 mil after peaking at about 45.6 mil. So we can actually put a line in there. That's our all-time high so far. A massive all-time high so far. 45.6 mil right there. So that's kind of what we look to overcome for the next swing. Now, how low do we go? That's something that I looked at based off again the fibs, looking at the fibs from this sort of swing, so low to high. You can see that we're actually right at the 618 right now on just this last leg. But if we count the leg that I was looking at like this, that maybe this is technically the last leg is from here, you know, we could see the 618 come back down to retest as low as 23 mil before making its way back up. But we're also just losing the 50% retracement of this sort of last swing right here. So a 50% retracement as well from the top side. If we could just do the math. 45 divided by 2, you'd be looking at about 22.5 mil. So that 50% retracement from the top, essentially, that's what we could look at, right? So I will leave these box ranges here because they might come in handy. The one thing that I would consider is that this fib box that we drew in here, we're actually right at the halfway point of that box. So I think if we did that, you could see that 50% right around. That's actually not correct. It's because it's the fib drawing tool, so. That might actually be right. No, it's not right. You gotta get the measuring tool. That's what I'm doing wrong here. Sorry, it's just late. I'm kind of done. I've just been yapping a lot, you know. The whole day was super busy for me, and then on top of it, you know, I'm trying to jump into this TG and yap as much as I can, and I've been pulling these streams off, you know, a few nights in a row now. 4 nights. I think this is our 4th. I want to keep this sort of like motion that we've got going here, because I'm getting a lot of engagement from the Citadail community, and I really appreciate that. But I really want to start to dive deeper into AI. I want to kind of like explore the Griffain ecosystem with you. Where did I put that one? I got rid of the Griffain, but yeah, the Griffain ecosystem I think is super bullish. We got massive support from Tony P, who's created this, and like this thing's eclipsed 530 mil already, and I think this is kind of where we are with Citadail, is like we're just starting this leg up. So I have compared this rally to what's happening here. This is on the 4 hour. I would say the daily is probably more similar when we're looking at things. Let me just take that off. So yeah, like looking at the daily on this, of course this daily just started, so like I wouldn't get too attached to it, because this yesterday's daily kind of looked really like wicked up as well until later in the day when it pushed up. But yeah, you can see how like that has the same sort of look to it as this beginning sort of motion, right? So like these candles are not as large, and then all of a sudden very large, very dominant candles, volume comes back in, and we see the same sort of thing, right? So large candles, volume comes back in. Mind you, this one really put in some massive volume, hundreds and hundreds of mil in about 5, 6, 7 days. So so far it's not identical, but it's got the same similarities, and I believe there's a lot of potential here for to see this really move up. Like, you know, we've gotten 15 mil in volume in the last 2 days on DEX, and technically the 8th, like, I mean, if we do UTC, it's only 7 hours in, so there's still quite a bit of time. Like, we're only a third of the way through this day, through the 8th, and it's already reaching yesterday, so that means we're definitely going to be above. You know, I could potentially see it overcoming this, you know, 20 or sorry, probably like 10 15 mil. What is that one? 12 mil. So yeah, I could overcome 12 mil, probably do 10-15 mil at least in volume today. That's going to bring in more volume the next day, as we see these people chasing green candles coming in here. Let me put that back to UTC 8. So anyways, guys, just wanted to do this quick update. Again, I'm getting ready to dive deeper into AI with you guys. So just stay tuned to the stream, and let's all win together. I think this is a big AI cycle. We're going to see some massive things happen this cycle with AI. So we're just trying to keep on the cusp of that. I did talk about this as well. Citadail HF, this is the hedge fund side of things, the hedge fund token, right? So when we go to the DAOs.fund, and we can see there's Citadail HF there, 5.5 mil, and it did peak out today at about 6.5 with a new all-time high, right? So it's looking really good for the hedge fund, 350k now in net asset values, with half of that, 239, more than half of that, sorry, 2/3 of that being the Citadail token, because it's got almost 1% allocation of that, right? So yeah, stay tuned to the channel, and we will follow up with the AI revolution that we're covering right now, and we'll bring you definitely some news and possibly even some new plays in the coming days. I also have a partnership that I am talking to an exchange about getting partnerships, and not financial advice. This thing doesn't have it has one exchange so far. It doesn't have exchanges that have even listed it yet. So I think we're going to see some exchanges come in play here soon too. That's going to assist pushing this token price up quite a bit. This looks like, seeing those 100k buys, I don't think those guys are going to just let this go down quite a bit. So I am looking at this for a potential bounce as well. Oh yeah, we've already got that line. I just forgot my drawings were gone. So yeah, looking at this for a potential bounce, I would kind of if you're looking to position for this, I would just keep an eye on this trend line, because see, it's about to break again. And then what you want to see is once it breaks the trend line is to overcome a previous high, right? And then as it overcomes more previous highs, that's when you get more and more bullish, and you can position harder and harder into this. So yeah, just keep an eye on it, because like I said, these massive buys, they're not going to want to sit in underwater too long, and they're going to bring in their whale friends, and they're going to all start bidding this chart up. And I think it's not too long before we see this up at the 100 mil, and that's kind of what I would say is my next zone to pay attention to. So that's kind of what I'm going to call next, and we're going to let's quickly run a fib extension, just so that we can get kind of an assessment, even though I don't know if this is the bottom yet, so we might have to redraw this later, but we're going to pretend that this is the bottom right now, and we're going to go from here, 45, that was all-time high, and we're going to assume that that's kind of the lows right here. And so our next fib extension is perfect, right? It brings us right up between 65 and 88 mil. Yeah, it's tough to say. Would you run it from there? No. Yeah, I would really run it from there, because this was just a quick sideways. It wasn't a decent enough consolidation to consider a bottom needed to form. So I think that is what I would look at personally. So 65 to 88, kind of the next zone to pay attention to. And then up above that, of course, you would be looking at 126 as the next sort of zones. Of course, we want to overcome what we're looking at here, and then continue on this uptrend. And we can see this was the drawing, right? Looks like it's kind of following that. Alright guys, I'm going to tune out for this one. Thanks for watching, and thanks for all the support. And congrats. Biggest one is congrats to anybody that's been in this since I called it, or just been in it, period. I think this is... Citadail is early still, and just being in it before this breakout of this previous all-time high, which really just basically happened, in the past couple days. This is where it all starts, and from here it's going to get really volatile. right? We're gonna see, as we can see the volume really coming in, it's gonna push this price up exponentially quicker than we saw it get pushed up before. So thanks for tuning in, Daniel, and anybody else watching or looking at the recording. We'll catch you guys in the next live stream, and that's all for tonight. Andy's Crypto Talk. Peace.